So this is the euro dollar analysis for Friday the 10th of November. Now, let's just have a look what happened with prices on the 9th of November. So we're just going to grab the pen. And in around the 9th, we're saying we're operating within this little range here, in between 1612 and essentially 1580. As 1612 held on a couple of occasions, I was expecting a breakdown in prices, but what we did see was another retest. And as I've mentioned in a few videos, once a level's tested several times, we usually see a break. So we had a retest, a bit of a pullback, and we had a break. We broke below it, which at one point did appear that we were going to continue back into this range, but we immediately followed through, and we do seem to have held this 1612 level. Now, where do we expect prices to go from here? On the high time frames, we do have prices heading to the downside, particularly as we are operating in shadow of a very bearish candle. But at present, we do seem to be having the further retracement. I did expect the retracement to end after we traded below 116.12. But as we've got back above it now, we have to look for potential upside targets. So we've come up above this 116.12. We do appear to have a bull flag forming at present. So if we were to get continuation, we'd be looking to see how prices react in around this level already mentioned. Mentioned last video, in around 1680 and 1710. This is the zone I'll be looking at for potential short side opportunities. Continuation and being in alignment with the higher time frame. So let's just zoom out here a little bit, just to show you why we are looking at that zone of 1680 and 1710. So we've got a major level at 1710 as marked out here in red, in around 1680. So we saw this was news related, but we did see a spike in price to the upside, and we see selling momentum drive prices back down, and again we saw some selling momentum there in around the 1680. So 1680 we expect to be the lower end of the zone, 1710 the very upper end of the zone, and where we could potentially see some short side opportunities for prices to turn around and head back down to 1612. That's what we expect. So dynamic levels before we get up to 1710 or at 1680. Well, we have the 200. Well, we've got a 200 period moving average below us, so we could see, say this bull flag doesn't play out as we look poised to. We could potentially see price come back down to the 200 period average before we get a bounce back upwards, head towards the 1680 level. But where the 1680 level is, we do have this 400 period moving average here in black. We'll have to see if we do get a reaction from there before we do get up to that 1710. But that's the moving average is still within the that 30-point zone at present. But so we have to see what happens when prices do get up there. Now, if we do break down, we're looking for possible support in around the 200 period average, but below that we're looking for the very, very strong, well, what's been more recently a strong level in around that 1612. So if we do come at 1612, we'll see whether we hold or we get small retracement before we do get some downside momentum, possibly going out to this 1580. Or if we do come down to this, if we do retrace all the way back down to that 1612, we do see a bounce in prices again, we'll be targeting those levels there of 1680, 1710. Now, we do have a weekly pivot in and around 1728. Would it be within range? It's possible. Euro dollar is trading in around about ATR in around 70 to 80 pips. So 1728 is possible, but we've got a very strong zone before we get up to that 1728. So I would expect 1728 to be the far end of the zone, beyond which we can't imagine price get up to 1771. Now, if we do break down prices, we do have some levels of support in around our 1612, in around 1580, and let's just have another look here on the chart. So what's happening here? Just bear with me a second here. Let's keep that there. Let's keep my drawings fixed on the chart. Yep, so more recently, we've traded all the way down to this 1560, all the way down to 15. Let's just see how low do we go. We traded all the way down to into the mid 1550s. So if we do break down below 1612, we'll see if we do get a reaction in around the 1580 level, that we did see some support out there. After which we'll be targeting 1550, half, pretty much the 0.5 level on the charts before we look at 115 to be the far end of the range. But as we're trading at 1644, I can't imagine prices retracing all the way down to 115. So the very far end of the zone, I'd probably expect to be around at 1550. So in around about 90 to 100 points, I'd expect to be the far end of the zone, unless we get a very strong catalyst to head us possibly 200 pips or so. It's all the way down to that 115 level. So euro dollar, we've identified the levels, the far end of the zone to the upside and to the downside. We do expect in the short term, if we do get this bull flag to play out, to see how prices go all the way up to 1680. This is possibly just a minor zone at present, but the very strong level we're looking at is at 1710, to see if we do see some sell side momentum to take us all the way back down to that 1612. If we do break above it, 1728, again, this weekly pivot may prove to be another area of resistance and put a halt to the upside momentum. So we're just going to have a quick look at the higher time frames now, just to see. We're going on to the daily chart. We're going to get the scale on here correct before we continue. On this daily chart now, what we've seen is we've not had a resolution that we've expected. We've not had a continuation to the downside. So we had a bit of a zone here. So this is our news related candle just there, that very large bearish candle. We came into this consolidation just there. Let's clean this chart up. So we went in this consolidation just there. We did appear to be breaking down from that 1612, but it's been negated by this very strong candle on the Thursday, the 9th of November. We've broken back above and back into this zone above us where we had this bit of consolidation. It's a pretty strong candle closing near its high. So on Friday we should possibly expect some further continuation to the upside to head towards that 1710 level identified. Overall though, on this daily chart, we've had a series of lower highs. So even if we do see a further retracement, I wouldn't say it's anything to be too concerned about, as we are still operating in shadow of this very bearish candle. Now we're just going to have a look at a weekly time frame before wrapping up here on the euro dollar. So it's going to go over to the weekly time frame. So on this weekly time frame, again, we're still operating in the weekly shadow of this very bearish candle with the black triangle above it. Okay, we've had a bit of a what was that? It's an inverted hammer just there on the 30th, the candle which opened on the 30th, and we do seem to have had some buy side momentum at present. So we'll might get some further retracement, but until we have price action negate the validity of this very strong bearish candle, we do have a somewhat bias, especially over the medium to long term, for a short side, well, for short side opportunities. So yep, that should wrap up the euro dollar analysis. So before I go, LCS, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.